African Americans in Hawaii, Part 1. Pioneers of African descent in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Anthony D. Allen left Boston when he was hired as a seaman. His sea journeys took him around the world, with adventures including pirate attacks, incarceration, and a shipwreck. People he met during his 8 years of travels included Sam Louverture, liberator of Haiti, and the famous British Admiral Lord Nelson. On his last trip from China to America, his ship stopped in Hawaii, which he had previously visited. Allen decided that it was time to leave the sea, and settled in Honolulu in 1810. Betsy Stockton, educator and missionary, was embraced by the native Hawaiian people. She was seen walking around the community, dressed in white and wearing a matching proffered African-style head wrap. Betsy's gathering place was under a big banyan tree in the Lahainalana neighborhood, surrounded by Hawaiian women and children. She taught the Hawaiian women Western skills in taking care of their children, to keep them from getting sick, but used Hawaiian herbs to heal children's sores and skin rashes. She also taught them Western housekeeping skills to keep the grass huts sanitary. An elegantly dignified 18-year-old Betsy Stockton was the first African-American woman to embark on the shores of the Hawaiian Islands. She learned to speak the Hawaiian language fluently, and founded the Lahainalana School for Maka'inana commoners on Maui in 1824. Frank Paiva Jr. was born in Kapa on Hawaii, Big Island, on May 26, 1892. He was called Tupert, derived from preto, the Portuguese word for black. His father, Frank Paiva Sr., was born in Parana, Brazil, in 1861. When Frank Sr. was old enough, he was hired as a seaman on a commercial ship sailing the high seas. He jumped ship in Hilo and made the Big Island his home. He met Frank Jr.'s mother, Chandrina Alice, who came to Hawaii from Portugal. Frank Jr. married Mary da Silva in Papaku, Hawaii, as seen here on their wedding day. They had 4 children, Manuel, Annie, Florence, and Albert. Their descendants still live in the islands. Charles Valencia Paiva was the second son of Frank Paiva Sr. Shown here on their wedding day, Charles married Mary Abels, and they had 13 children. His great-grandfather Francisco Franca, married Alexandrina Pavao in Hilo on October 15, 1888. Pedro Peter Jose was born in Honolulu in 1881. His father came from the Cape Verde Islands off the coast of Africa. Cape Verdeans were of African Portuguese ancestry. Jose was a Honolulu policeman who had a great personality. He was well known in the downtown Honolulu area near Aloha Tower, as the Hula Cop, because he danced the hula while conducting street traffic. Helen James was a student from the Hampton Institute, founded by Samuel Chapman Armstrong, who was born and raised in Hawaii, who came to the islands to teach in 1901. She was chaperoned by Charles and Estrel Dykes. Charles was the new principal of the Kamehameha schools, founded for the benefit of children of Hawaiian descent. Helen was assigned kitchen and parlor duties. Despite the long hours, Helen took on additional duties tutoring a student in English and assisting the school nurse and preparing her lectures. There were 2 students under surveillance for leprosy. In addition, the nursing staff was treating students with measles and other minor ailments. One student suffered terrible pain from a school accident. He had been given morphine for 6 weeks to relieve his pain. Despite her busy schedule, she found ample time for socializing. One day, Queen Liliuokalani came to Kamehameha School accompanied by her ward Josephia, who was a candidate for West Point. Helen was honored to meet and shake the Queen's hand. On another occasion, Helen was introduced to Thomas Mackenzie Stewart and his wife, Alice, who called on Charles and Estrella Dykes. She had the opportunity to observe other black people in her travels around town and was surprised to see so many of them in Honolulu. Thomas Mackenzie Stewart came with his family to Hawaii in 1898, 5 years after Queen Liliuokalani was overthrown, and the same year the Hawaiian kingdom was annexed. He was a prominent civil rights attorney in New York who became immersed in local politics and took up the causes of the Hawaiian people, defending their land rights, and the Chinese who were denied rights under the Chinese Exclusionary Act. His contributions to Hawaii included drafting the Municipal Act for local people to obtain self-government. The Hawaii Territorial Legislature passed the act, but Governor Sanford Dole vetoed it. The people were disturbed by the governor's action, and demands to control local government increased. Some 55 years later, the act led to Hawaii's statehood. Stewart was the first African American to practice before the Hawaii Supreme Court. Between 1899 and 1904, he appeared before the court 16 times. Alice Augusta Ball, scientist, was born in Seattle in 1892. She grew up in Washington State and Hawaii. Her father, James P. Ball, Jr., moved his family to Honolulu from Seattle in 1902 to improve the health of his father, James P. Ball, Sr., who suffered from debilitating rheumatoid arthritis. The family lived in downtown Honolulu, and Alice attended Central Grammar School. James Sr. died in 1904 in Honolulu, and the family moved back to Seattle. Alice graduated from Seattle High School with excellent grades in science. She attended the University of Washington and graduated with 2 degrees, one in pharmaceutical chemistry and a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy. In 1914, Alice returned to Honolulu to study at the College of Hawaii, later named the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she earned a Master of Science degree in chemistry in 1915. She was the first African American to graduate and also the first to teach at the University of Hawaii. During her laboratory research, she discovered a breakthrough for Hansen's disease, leprosy, by extracting ethyl esters of the fatty acids from chalmoogra oil. This chemical was injected into patients, and it reduced the symptoms caused by leprosy. The compound provided effective treatment for the disease. Alice suddenly became ill and died at the age of 24 in 1916. Carlotta Stewart Lay was 18 years old when she came to Hawaii with her father, Thomas McInnes Stewart, in 1898. She graduated from Punahou College in 1902 with a teaching degree. Carlotta was an elegant and distinguished African American woman. She was socially accepted, active in community activities, and enjoyed playing basketball, swimming, and dancing. Her first job was as principal of a common school on Oahu. Later she was appointed to be principal of an ala school on the island of Kauai, where she met her husband, Kuntim Lay. They were married in 1916. The people of Kauai loved and respected her. She and Kuntim did not have any children. Kuntim Lay died in 1935 when he went to Hong Kong to visit his parents. The Lay family on Kauai was widely known and admired in the community. Carlotta and Kuntim's sister, Ruth Ching, were very close friends. After her retirement as principal, Carlotta moved back to Honolulu, where she remained until her death in 1952. Carlotta Lay poses with her staff at an ala school on the island of Kauai. Carlotta Lay appears with her graduating class at an ala school on the island of Kauai in 1928. Dr. William Linnaeus Maples and his wife, Sadie, came to Hawaii in 1901. Maples was hired by the Hawaiian commercial sugar plantation in Pu'anan, Maui, to work in its hospital located on the northwestern side of the island. Dr. Maples's previous experiences and skills enhanced the services provided to plantation workers. He was instrumental in renovating the operating room and brought in the latest X-ray equipment and radium supplies that made the hospital one of the most modern medical facilities in the Hawaiian Islands. Sadie gave birth to 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Gladys, and her time was spent taking care of the girls. The people of Maui embraced the Maple family. In addition to utilizing his medical skills, Dr. Maples played musical instruments. He later founded the Navro band that played in Wailuku Square on weekends and arranged the Pu'anan school song. Maples worked at the Hawaiian Commercial Sugar Plantation Hospital for 30 years before his retirement. He died in Wailuku, Maui, on January 22, 1943. William F. Crockett, attorney, came to Hawaii with a group of African American laborers recruited from Montgomery, Alabama. They arrived on the City of Peking ship on December 16, 1901. Crockett was hired by the Spreckelsville Sugar Plantation on Maui. He was responsible for supervising the black plantation workers and handling business matters for black recruits. When his contract was completed, Crockett established his law practice in Wailuku, Maui. He was appointed Maui District Magistrate. Later he served in the territorial legislature for several terms. His wife, Annie, was an educator. She taught at the Wailuku Elementary School and was known as Mother Crockett to many local people. In her yard, she had a variety of plants and flowers. Because of her love of horticulture, she started to crossbreed the hibiscus with other flowers and was responsible for developing over 50 different varieties of the hibiscus flower that are seen throughout the islands today. The Crocketts had 2 children, Wendell Francis and Grace. James Presley Ball Sr. was a noted black daguerreotype photographer. He came to Honolulu in 1902 to recuperate from rheumatoid arthritis. Ball was one of the first persons of African descent to learn the art of daguerreotyping. His son, James P. Ball Jr., was also a photographer and lawyer. The Ball family lived in Montana and Seattle before moving to Honolulu. James Sr. died in Honolulu in 1904. Wendell Francis Crockett followed in his father's footsteps. He graduated from the University of Michigan with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1916 and a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree in 1917. Wendell was also one of the assistant editors of the Michigan Law Review. 3 generations of Crocketts graduated from the University of Michigan Law School. Wendell returned to Maui to practice law with his dad. Wendell Crockett later served as a second lieutenant with the all-black 25th Infantry Regiment from 1918 to 1919, Honolulu Advertiser. After his discharge, he returned to Maui and was appointed Deputy County Attorney on July 1, 1919.